joining me, and this is the practice. You could practice this as soon as you open your eyes, so really in the morning. You can stay in bed. Have a couple of blankets, but those blankets could be your big duvet that you can use as a support, and you just need one cushion. So you could start the day like this. So I really wanted to focus on the hips, on the releasing through the hips, just to bring a little bit of the space around them. Good sort of mobility, especially if you got a long walk in front of you. Moving a little bit of through the ankle. So really encourage the flow through the legs. And when it comes to nervous system, when we lie down, we're on a horizontal position. It's really, our nervous system loves it. It's a calming moment before you start your day. I think it's such an important part rather than just jump off the bed and straight away do something. So it's really giving yourself time to connect with your body, with your breath, and take it slow and then start your day. So I have this lovely big, it's actually Eve pillow, cushion, I would say. It's a great to support the neck as well. And and this is a 2 blanket. So you either use, you might want to have, if you would use this or if you would practice this on the mat, I would go and bring it something a little bit wider. So maybe you have something that will resemble, if you're going to practice this on the mat, something that will resemble a bolster. Something perhaps in the living room that you got something really large, things that will help you to support your knee, from knee all the way to the foot. So if you imagine the length from the knee all the way to the foot is quite long, so we wanted to support this. So for now you can just lie down. So you can imagine that you woke up, your eyes got opened, you can have your feet a little bit wider, and you can have your hands onto the belly and then just swing a little bit of the legs in and out really gently. You can even give yourself a nice upper body stretch. Sometimes when we're stretching like this, we have a little bit of arch into the lower back, so it's okay for 1 or 2 breaths, but then you just draw the navel in, you can bring it up, elevate, bring it back down, hands down onto the belly, and then just swing the legs. And then we start with a little bit of lifting the legs up, shake the legs. So I think you know you're going to use your legs for long walks, so really elevating, releasing the tension into the ankles, and then give them movement and fluidity and a flow, blood flow on the opposite direction really helps. And then you can either hold your sort of thighs around here, elbows down, so support those shoulders, elbows down, and then you can just sort of lean onto those thighs, give yourself a little bit of a shake, circle. You could do one leg at a time if you wanted to rest that hip, the hip flexor. So you could do one leg first, or you can even rest that foot like this onto the knee, and then just circling the ankle. Hope you can see that. So you want to do that, really relaxing through the sort of upper body. So expand, spread the shoulder blades across the mat, away from the spine. Use a few breaths. And change. So again, just resting that leg, circling the ankle, really bring that again as mobility into that joint, freeing the toes as well, so spreading the toes a little bit, noticing the toes, try to keep connection in your mind towards the body. so towards every movement you're doing, so you can stay present. And then what we've done, we could start with, so now this is your, what we're going to do next, this is where you can use your duvet. So either you put a duvet in a half, or you have those big blankets, something that you can support you, and you extend the leg down. So even your knee is supported and your ankle, and you rest that leg. So you rest your left leg down, and we're going to circle those hips. So now you don't want to really pressurize your shoulder to reach for the knee. So if this feels too far, just drop the hand downwards under the knee, and then you can circle. Maybe start a little bit of anti-clockwise. You can also just use your left hand, and then right hand rests onto the hip. You can do that. So I'm just circling clockwise. Now and then you can do different movements. So you don't have to just circle, you can just open a little bit to the side. The only thing is you don't want to start lifting that right hip here. You want to keep it grounded onto the mat. So that's why the hand is actually very useful there. Try not to really force anything here. Just really in tune into the sort of movement into the joint, inside, outside, around. And now we need this support which you have onto the foot. So we wanted to bring that left leg across using your right hand. And now we wanted to rest at least that height. And the height is actually where your knee aligns in the same height than your hip. Not down, because you will pull your lumbar spine. So whether you have big pillows, so now I'm going to use this bolster, or imagine that you have, see, I'm going to create like a folded duvet or bolster, and now when I rest the leg there, it aligns with my hip. Now the right hand just rests here, and we wanted to open your left side of the chest. So your right leg is on the floor, slightly bend it, as relaxed as possible, that right leg. Even maybe just touching that big pillow or bolster, and then your left hand goes up and then opens up onto the side all the way. If you got a big bed, it could stay. Of course, you can move yourself to the right of the bed if you've got a double bed, and then extend the arm. And now try not to, if you're in bed, try not to drop the arm downwards. So stay supported, that arm, all of the arm. So you don't want to drop your wrist lower than your shoulder. And then when you extend, if you are on somewhere in the room, in a living room or somewhere, just to let that arm extend. Now exhale, drop the shoulder down towards the mat. And now you have this, we call this supine twist. So it's like an S shape. Your leg, knee, which is to the right, then is to the center, your hip, your shoulder, and then your arm. So the upper body, it's opening up towards your left, and we don't need to force anything there. The only thing you need to place that leg, your left knee, somewhere that it will support you. So not holding in the air, but completely drop onto the support. You can always pause this video and then bring something. So you want it to support from the knee all the way. Again, ankle not drop, but ankle onto the support. Breathing gently in. And when you exhale, imagine your upper body, it's opening up. So your shoulder blades, it's moving or touching the mat, shoulder, your left shoulder is down onto the floor, onto the bed, extended. And then you can take a 10-15 breaths just in this side. And I want you to really tune into the side, because each side is different. And as you will repeat practicing this video, I want you to choose the side that is a little bit easier. So I know sometimes the left knee could be, if it's your left knee, a little bit more uneasy sometimes, but hopefully the left side of the hip and then side of the abdomen and chest, it's a little bit easy. If it's not, as you keep practicing, you could start with the easy side. So really notice that, because it's actually a very natural, even if you're not really stretching, you're just staying in stillness, you can still feel a lot of opening here. So make sure that you really in tune into the one side first. And then when you're ready, you come back to the center, maybe bring the legs down, readjust your whole body, your lower back into the center. And now we're going to bring this onto the other side. So all the way to the other side. And you can extend the left leg. Again, we can circle. We are circling the right hip. Rather do less of, so kind of less movement or less circling. Less circling as you don't have to circle 50 times, 30 times, maybe less, but slower, okay? Especially if the hips feel tighter, so do a little bit of a slower. You can also add, if you got a little bit of time, a little bit of a stretching through the hamstring. So if you feel tight, bend and then circle again. So my left hand is onto the hip, so the hip doesn't move, because when you start circling, it's your external rotation of your hip. And sometimes we wanted to do a little bit wider circle, so what happens, that left hip lifts. So don't lift at the left hip, ground the left sit bones onto the mat. Now when you're ready, you're going to bring the leg onto the left, your left hand touching. I didn't figure out this space here, hold on. I'm going to put this bolster or big duvet down, so move. You see, I actually shifted my sit bones more to the right and my leg. So my knee and ankle is now supported. And I'm going to extend my right arm. So right arm up, down slowly as you extend. Again, you can do down and then rest. So my head and neck is really supported. So make sure you're placing that cushion under the neck as well. The upper body completely onto the floor, shoulder blades, your right shoulder blade, your shoulder. Arms extended. And then again. So on the left side of the body, which I haven't mentioned, is your stomach. In here is your liver. Okay, so it's good to know which organs are where, because in that supine twist you might notice something, different sensation, or sometimes this could feel quite strong just to lie here, because you're really into, again, we call this supine twist, so you are into that twist. So grounding, so try not to lift that shoulder, so shoulder has to go all the way down. Now, if it doesn't want to go down, place it down, and then sometimes the leg might want it to lift if it's a tight hip or is it tight in the lower back. So you can create extra support, so you bring in an extra blanket. So the first video would be sort of like finding yourself, your body into it. Anytime you need to stop the video, you can stop, and then as you practice, you will know how much props you need. And then your left hand is resting onto the thigh somewhere or onto the belly, elbows down. Breathe in as the belly rises, let that rib cage slightly expand, and release down. And then relax. And when you're exhaling, really let that shoulder to melt onto the mat, that hip. See which, again, you're in tuning individually on the sides. Your right side is very masculine and very dynamic. Maybe that's why majority of us, we have a right side very tight and right-handed, and then left side is very feminine, very soothing, very yin, very calming. So it's really great to notice what's really happening on each side. And you could choose 10 breaths, 20 breaths, and then you bring yourself back again into the center. So again, shifting your hips to the center, maybe just a swinging again. That swinging that we did at the beginning, it might feel, I'm just going to move this to the side or right at the bottom, that swinging could be a little bit easier because you've opened the side. So it's actually quite nice just to open up, hold the body, draw the knees in, again circling, a little bit of open the hips, and then again circling together. Breathe in, ground yourself with the spine, with the upper body. This could be either way. There's no right or wrong in the circling. Just try not to jar your joints, very gently, and then kind of very much like you bringing that sort of self-care into the practice or into the body. Now bring the feet down, a little bit of lift. Lift into the bridge pose, squeezing the glutes. Lift, lift, lift. You can even bring your arms over your head or just bending the elbows. Inhale there, exhale, stay. And then release yourself down. Okay? And then rock yourself forward. Now this, if it's not crosses, you can sit higher onto it. You can extend the legs a little bit, shake the legs. Cover something over here. And hope your hips, your legs are ready, and then you feel calm. So it's a great way to start the day as well. But don't forget that could be this practice you can actually do at the end of the day, okay? Because it's very calming. So either way, it will be very beneficial, and your hips and then whole body and your nervous system relaxes throughout. Okay, so enjoy.